And we are live.
Hi,
Hi, everyone. And there's Sully.
There's Sully. Hi.
Of course, he's got to be all, he steals the show.
He totally does. 100%.
Oh, let me. There we go.
Hey, Dawn.
If you say something really quick in chat, honey, I can make you a moderator. That way, as we're doing that, if you want to, keep putting like your channel.
Where is the I don't see the place.
Oh,
to
you don't
chat.
have a place to chat. Okay.
Oh wait, yes I do. Well, it says under the private chat. It's not under the live comments. Is it under the private chat?
I don't know.
Did it show
it's
up?
Under my comments.
I have two windows. I have private chat and live comments.
Probably live comments, unless you're not able to.
There's no place to chat in live comments, just under private chat.
All right. No big deal. I will just go back over to your channel because I want to be able to put your channel and your website, in there because a lot of people can't see it. Yeah, in the chat. There we go. Oops. It takes a couple minutes for people to start rolling in.
Right.
All right, let me put this in there. I'm showing 5 people now. Oh, I'm seeing private chat. Yep, I'm seeing you in the private chat. Okay, I didn't want to do that.
Yes, now I see Vicky Lilypad. Okay, so now they're coming through.
Why is this like so off? Am I over too far?
You look normal to me. What are you saying you're off? You look normal.
Maybe that's better.
Okay. You mean like a full screen type deal?
On the full screen. Hey, we got to work it.
Here, I love Kathy. I haven't talked to Kathy in forever. Hey,
Kathy. Hi, Kathy. I love that, Vicky. I'm here. That's all that matters.
We can start the show now. Vicky has entered the room.
Exactly. Hi, September Crow.
Karen's here, September Crow.
So how's everyone doing today? I love the new beanbag.
Oh, yes. I'm like, what side is it on? The beanbag chair. This thing, I mean, I'm afraid it's going to get bigger because I'm not going to have much space for it, but it's still expanding. So it's supposed to be 5 feet or something like. I mean, it's huge.
Oh my goodness gracious!
Yeah. So
is that the door you normally use to go in and out?
Huh?
Is that the door you normally use to go in and out too?
No, that's the closet door.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the door is actually over here.
I gotcha.
So and I don't use the closet for anything but like storage. So I stuck it in front of there, but I would sit here and I'd be reading a book and I'd be like like this is so uncomfortable. So I said to the hubby, I was like, we need to do something about the situation. And he's like, all right, well, what do you want? And first I was gonna go for a Papazon chair, and he's like, those things break. I'm like, yeah, that's true. And I'm like, what about like a giant beanbag? He's like, do you have the room for that? I'm like, who cares? Let's just
make the room. Yeah.
But yeah, you get in it. It's like that super. You ever had those blankets that are like super, super soft? It's like one of those, and it's like a cloud. You just go in. It's great, but it smells like memory foam. So I could like spray with some sage or something.
My only problem with that is I would get in there and then I would have to have somebody help me get out, or I'd be like wiggling my way out.
Yeah, I did the other night. Well, the funny thing is I came home from work yesterday and I come upstairs and all the lights are off. I come and my twinkle lights were still on. I come into the room, my 15-year-old is sitting in there reading a book, and I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, what does it look like I'm doing? I'm reading a book. I'm like, in my witchy room in the beanbag chair? He's like, it's comfortable. I'm like, oh, okay, you do you. I'll be downstairs.
That's funny. Been working this AM. Have call this weekend. Oh. Yeah, it looks like a hug, she says.
It is. It is totally. It's a giant.
She's out of the closet.
It's great. I love it. I am
All
out of the
right.
closet. See? I don't ever go. I've gone in that closet once when Kaylee was over. She's like, "What do you have in here?" I'm like, "Nothing." She opens the closet. She's like, "There's like nothing in here." She's like, "What are you going to use it for?" I'm like, "Nothing." I'm like, "It's just empty space."
You know
So
what I do with my closets? Is it just a regular, like an 8 foot long or like a 6 foot long
it's
wide
about
or?
it's about a 6 foot long because it goes from the end of the wall. There's a small space right here before the door that leaves. Yeah, so it's about between 4 and 6, I would say. It's a double door closet.
I take the bar out of the top and
Yeah.
just put shelves all the way, and then you have shelves
Oh, I didn't think of
for
that.
over storage of like herbs,
It's
oils,
completely empty. There's
whatever.
nothing in there. It's completely empty. I didn't even think of that. That's a really good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, are you ready to get started with the questions, honey?
We are ready.
Awesome.
Of course, guys, there's wine involved. This is me we're
Okay.
talking about.
What are you drinking? We got to know.
Chardonnay. I don't know what brand. I don't know. It was in my fridge.
Right on. So the first question is your channel name and why you named it that.
Okay. So when I first started on YouTube 2 years ago for the second time around, I had my name was Skittlecat Spiritual. And the name Skittlecat was my Instagram handle. It had nothing to do with me or anything spiritual or anything. I just couldn't think of a name. So I figured, well, Skittlecat, and then we'll just throw spiritual on there. And then after a while, I'm like, this is the dumbest name ever. So I was like, we need to find something that encompasses who I am and what my channel's about. So I'm like, all right, well, I live in Florida, but I don't want to be called the Florida Witch. That's just stupid. So I'm like, what am I going to name myself? And my love and my connection of palm trees, I was like, well, that's my tree. So we got to throw that in there somewhere. And coincidentally, it coincided with living in Florida. And then Bewitchery was just that's my life. My life is very bewitching. You know, there's witchery in everything I do, from work to home to play. It's everywhere. So throwing the three together, it really encompassed everything kind of all the way around. So it made sense. And that's kind of what I've been known as, you know, from the get-go. But, you know, my YouTube existence started, you know, a decade back. But due to drama and other random things, I decided to leave this platform for an extended period of time, and then recently came back about 2.5 years ago, I think. I think it's about 2.5 years.
I'm glad you came back.
I know. I know. It's completely different now than it was back then.
Yeah. So you kind of just answered the second question also, which is how long have you been on YouTube?
I think it's been 2.5 years because it was right after Christmas in 2017. Maybe it was into 2018. I think it's about 2 years is how long I've been on for this time around. But, you know, originally I started YouTube back in 2000, want to say 8 or 9. It went through a good 6-year run. And then due to drama and just the way the community had started to get, I was just like, I'm done with this. I can't deal with this anymore. And the people I vlogged alongside, most of them had left also. We were just like, I'm done with this. Because the YouTube community back a decade ago was very, well, I mean, it started very small. There weren't as many people on YouTube back then as there are now, as far as the witchy pagan community. And now it's thousands upon thousands. But back then it was from a couple hundred. And of course, you have a lot of people competing. And back then, YouTube was geared towards becoming a YouTube partner. So you had to get a certain amount of subscribers and this and views and this to become a YouTube celebrity. And somehow it got to people's heads. Even the witchy community, people wanted to become YouTube famous back then, because YouTube was also relatively new back then. And to become a partner was like, oh my God, I'm glorified. I've got thousands upon thousands of subscribers, and now I'm a YouTube celebrity witch. And it became a competition. And then we lost what we came there for in the first place. So a lot of us were just like, I'm done. I'm leaving. And we left for a good almost 7 to 10 years. And a lot of us now are starting to come back.
Hi, Denise. Hi, Dawn. Thank you for joining us, guys.
Hi, guys.
I have actually heard a couple of different people talk about that time period and how they just said, yeah, we were done. And they came back.
And it's so different now. I mean, coming back, I was weary. I was like, do I really want to do this? Because even when I left YouTube, about a year after I left, I kind of dropped my spirituality, to be honest with you. Well, that's a whole nother conversation. But I dropped my spirituality. But when I came back and I came back to my own spirituality, I was kind of like, do I want to do this? Do I want to put my spirituality back on a public platform? Because I was so, not traumatized is really not the word. I just remembered what it was like, and coming back and seeing the camaraderie, the love, the genuine care for other people. I'm like, okay, this is a whole different world. This is not 10 years ago. YouTube has evolved, but also different communities within YouTube have evolved outside of religion. Just YouTube in general, it has evolved. And even I would say the pagan community, yes, of course, we're still going to have drama. Of course, we're going to have stuff. I mean, that comes with any platform, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, here. But I think that this time around is a whole different beast. Like I feel the love rather than just see it. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's a completely different thing. People are genuine this time around, and that's what makes me keep on going, so.
Yeah, it's not just a production, right? It's just about expressing yourself and joining in with other people.
Yeah, exactly.
So, hi, Marge.
Hey, Marge.
So the next question is, what is the direction that you envision for your channel?
I kind of started off where I wanted to teach people things. And then after a while, I was like, I can't teach for a living because that's what I do as a career. I can't teach for a living and teach on YouTube. That's just too much teaching for me. And then I kind of felt like there's so much teaching out there already that's really not my niche. My niche is for teaching is for my career outside of all this nonsense. So I kind of just started just going with the flow and it just being me, no script. We talked before we went live about editing, and I try to edit at a minimal, but sometimes you just gotta edit the nonsense. But I try to just be someone people can relate to. I'm just an ordinary girl, with an ordinary American family, living the ordinary American dream as it were. I work for retail, for the biggest big box retailer in the world. And I have a life, but I'm also a witch. And what that encompasses is, I think, kind of to show people that I'm still me, regardless if I'm a pagan or whatever, I'm still me. And I like to keep it fun. I like to have people laugh at my dumb jokes and bring witchcraft more so into the real life, the modern part of it, the sarcasm. I throw sarcasm in there. I just want to be goofy and funny and silly, and people remember me as that goofy girl who's a witch who just makes fun of stuff. I don't know. I just
and drinks good wine.
and gets drunk on occasion. No, I'm kidding. I just kind of saw it as an opportunity for me to kind of put my life out there and hope that I can relate to, or other people can relate to me, as it were. So I know, just to be more real. I see a lot of people that do a lot of, you gotta have the right camera, you gotta have the right lighting, you gotta have the right room, the background. People go like professional, they have all this like professional, pristine background. And no, man, we're real people. Let's just get on here and just be real people. Yeah. And I mean, man, some of the people that I've met on here have touched my life and in my heart in so many ways. I can't even begin to describe it. You don't expect that when you go on a platform like YouTube. You go on here to make videos and chit chat and have camaraderie, but what you get back is so much more than what you give. It's insane. I absolutely adore it. I have lifelong friends from this platform.
Right on. I mean, also because you're drawn to the same people that you have the same common interests with, which you don't always find, outside of like these social media, whether it's YouTube or Facebook, whatever.
No, it's extremely true. I mean, I work in a building where there are 365 employees. Not one of them that I'm aware of is pagan. Yeah. People know I'm pagan at work and they're cool with it. They're like, you do you, boo, whatever. But none of them know about my YouTube. I keep that on purpose because I work in a very professional institution, so I really don't want people saying, "Hey, did you see your latest YouTube video?" You know, I don't need that. Then knowing my spirituality, I'm totally cool with that. But I know of me in 365 people in a building. I know of just me. I mean, so to be on a platform where you have everybody you interact with is of some sort of the pagan tree, and there's tons and tons of branches of that. Yeah. It makes you feel like you're not so alone,
Right on. So how would you label your spiritual path?
Definitely solitary. I dabbled with the idea of joining a coven, but the more I looked into it, the more I felt like I didn't want to share. So definitely solitary. I'm eclectic because I do pull from all different kinds of witchcraft and paganism. And probably if I go back to even when I first stumbled across the path 13 years ago, something like that, I considered myself Wiccan back then. I'm like, oh, I'm a Wiccan and I'm going to follow the fairy path and that's what I'm going to do. And the more I looked into it, I'm like, oh, there's so many rules. I'm like, I don't do rules. Like you have to have this specifically right here on your altar and this has to be done on this time and date. And I'm like, no, this ain't going to work out. So I dropped Wicca, but still pull from it, So I would definitely say just a solitary eclectic witch, It's so weird how life before paganism and life after, and I was thinking about this the other day when I went into work. I was walking into the building and there were crows everywhere. I mean, just like littered with crows, just flying everywhere. I felt like the episode of like that movie, The Birds. They were just everywhere. And I'm like, what is up with all the crows? I've never seen that many crows in my building whatsoever. And that day specifically, I had no idea what I was walking into, but that day specifically was extremely strenuous and just a lot of emotional stress. And I'm like, they were protecting. They were protecting the building from the emotional stress. And I just remember like the pagan or the person before me, before I became pagan, probably wouldn't have realized all the crows. I would have just walked into the building, But being pagan, I'm just looking up and I'm like, all right, there are a shitload of crows on this building and I want to know why. Normal people don't do that. Normal people walk into the building and go, yeah, it's morning, whatever, and here's my coffee. I'm walking around like, all right, there's like 10 million crows. What's going on? So I don't know. It's just,
I can so relate to that. The lady next door here about a month ago, there just kept on being crows in her tree back there. I mean, they just kept coming back and they were huge. A couple days later, they were taking her out in a stretcher.
Oh my God. See,
but I would not have noticed that beforehand. I would not have thought. I knew something's up, something's going on, because aren't they also like messengers?
Yes.
And
they're protectors and messengers, just kind of almost in the same category as an owl. So, seeing that, I mean, crows are everywhere. Crows are a giant species, but, to see that many crows on a Walmart, I was kind of like, okay, I get it. There's food in the parking lot, but this is at like 6:30 in the morning. I'm like, I mean, there had to have been at least 300 crows. And I'm like, all right, this is not normal. But, normal people wouldn't have recognized that. And they were setting me up for, okay, you're going to go in this building. This day is going to be tough, but we're going to be here. You're going to make it through. It's kind of what I got from it. And I did. I made it through because I had already known the wisdom that was already going to happen. So I prepared myself walking into the building that I knew what I was up for. I mean, it's things like that are just like, holy crap, why didn't I come out of the womb pagan? This would have been so much easier to deal with my teenage life.
Yes.
God.
So September Crow says one of the best videos was the one of her ranting and eating Cheez-Its. I don't think I ever seen that one. Was that your previous?
Yeah, my previous. Yes. I mean, back when I did YouTube, a decade ago, it was pagan. Yeah, of course. We were witches and we were pagans and we would talk about that, but we would do skits as well. And we would just be goofy and funny and stupid. I mean, and that's what kept, people watching in the humor. And I did a couple skits with wigs on and got all, acting and, I remember the Cheez-It one though. Yeah. Just me being just ranting, going off, just eating Cheez-Its, me like, and then, oh yeah, I totally remember that. Yep.
The fowl of the air shall warn thee. That's what Vicky says.
Yeah. Yep.
I knew my Bible background would come in handy. Thank you, Vicky. I can't tell a raven from a crow. I couldn't either, although don't ravens have the longer beaks?
They do, and they're bigger. Ravens are bigger and have longer beaks.
Oh my gosh,
But
because
yeah,
these crows are freaking huge.
It's easy to confuse them. I think from what I read scientifically, there are more crows than ravens. Ravens are kind of not rare. Rare is not the word because there's a lot of them too. They're just not as common as crows.
I think it's been ground into most of us. No disrespect of those who follow. What's that?
What's been ground, Kathy? The craziness? Because I'm certainly crazy. 100% nuts.
So the next question is, do you use divination? And if so, what types?
Absolutely. My biggest divination is probably tarot and oracle. I have pendulums. I have 3 over here hanging from my window star. But I have a hard time with the pendulum. I think my mind gets in the way too much. And it's been like this since the beginning, since I bought my first pendulum and I would hold it. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, well, I'm moving the pendulum. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't get over that whole like, well, it's me just looking for the answer, you know? I couldn't get over that to the point where I had to realize that it's yes, you are technically physically moving it, but it's your subconscious that it's filtering through to the pendulum. I couldn't grasp that. And even today, even though I know how a pendulum actually works, you know, being a newbie to being where I am now, I still don't use them. I think they're beautiful and I'll consult them every once in a while. But pendulum work is probably my second next to tarot and oracle. Third would be scrying. Scrying, I can't do it. I've tried so hard. I can't. I don't know how to relax my brain, relax my eyes, my facial muscles, my whole body, and just see. I have a hard time being like, okay, well, that's just the light from that. You know what I mean? Like my brain is still very much on. I can't relax it to tap into the subconscious. So I look at the crystal ball and I'm like, all right, well, that's just the twinkle lights. You know, I make too much sense out of things. And I need to learn how to just let my brain shut off and just let happen what happens. And that's my problem, I think, with scrying and any of that kind of divination. So for me, tarot and oracle, even though it is actually pretty complex and difficult, it's the easier of the kind. So I would say, I mean, for me, tarot and oracle is my go-to, and I would find it to be 90 to 95% effective in my life, in my practice at least.
Yeah. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I've always thought this too. Well, because I don't have a whole lot of experience with pendulum work, but I would hold it up and it just started freaking going crazy. I mean, like really fast. And I'm thinking, what the hell? I mean, it kind of freaked me out a little bit. But when I think back, it's not just us moving it. I mean, the world really spins. The earth spins. So if you're trying to hold something straight where it's on, wouldn't it automatically have some sort of...
Right. And I've read that on various websites and books where I try to be like, okay, let me figure this whole pendulum stuff out. And I love the whole idea behind it and what it actually is, that I actually want to get more into it, but I can't get my brain to shut off. But it's partially your body chemistry and your flow. Your subconscious obviously is a huge part of it. But yeah, you gotta think, if you have a window open, this world is spinning, we're spinning around. I mean, of course that's gonna have some flow into it. But I would say, from what I've read, the primary part of pendulum work is your subconscious is, you know, you have your heartbeat. If you try to keep your hand completely 100% still, you can't. Your heartbeat is going to move your hand. So think about what your heartbeat is. Think about what your soul is. Think about how your thoughts reflect your heartbeat, reflecting your hand. That's your subconscious all working through your body, your chemistry of your body. So you may not be going like this, but if you're keeping your hand as still as possible, and 1 second it's going front, back, and then 3 seconds later it's going left, right, and you didn't really move your hand, your body flow, your subconscious somehow has changed. So the idea of that makes more sense than you're moving your hand. You're not physically moving your hand, yes, but everything around you, like your environment, of course, and the earth moving, your heartbeat, your energy, all that is moving. You can try to keep your hand 100% still. It's not going to happen. It's humanly impossible. So I think looking into that aspect, knowing that, yes, your hand's going to move, but there are other factors. You're not moving it with your brain. You're moving it with your subconscious and your energy. So I think that's more so what you have to look into when you're looking at pendulum work. I still have a lot of years to work with pendulums before I can even begin to understand it fully, because I spent so many years trapped in the while I'm moving it, kind of like a Ouija board while I'm moving it. You know, I got so many years trapped in that.
You know, I just put this in one of my videos too. When I played with the Ouija board one time with my husband, he had asked a question that I did not know, because that's what he said. My husband's atheist. He doesn't believe in anything, right? He really doesn't. That's why I want to haunt him when I go. But anyway, then we'll see whether or not he believes, right? But we were playing with it, and he asked a question. He goes, okay. So he asked a question that I would not have known. And the thing is, as soon as he asked the question, even though I didn't know it, the answer popped in my head. So I could have inadvertently moved it and not realized I moved it.
Right.
But the real thing is, why did it pop in my head? Why did the answer pop in my head?
If you had never known the answer to that question, why would you know it?
Exactly.
Were you both touching the thing at the same time?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
See, that's where you get into the whole thing. That's when you start to really believe, like, there's stuff outside the normal realm of thinking. You know what I mean?
Like my higher self was telling me.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
So then I could move it if that was the case. I don't think I was moving it, but it had to have moved.
It moved. Someone moved it. And that's the thing.
I think took his hand off really fast.
Yeah, be like, all right, don't touch it. It goes flying off into the room. That would freak me out. That would freak me out. Mm-mm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Denise, for putting that in there, honey. The comparison to the ravens and the crows.
Oh, yes, yes.
And Kathy meant the Bible when she said, I think it's been ground into most of us.
That makes sense. It's true.
So, do you have a website?
I do. And most of the people in this chat have already ordered from it. Yes, findingavaloncandles.com. Most of you know that my sideshow business is building energy and intention candles that came completely not planned. I didn't plan on it at all. I just made a candle one day. I'm like, I wonder if I can do this. And I made a pillar candle. I'm like, this shit's the bomb. And it was actually my husband that suggested, he's like, why don't you sell them? I'm like, nah, I have a full-time job. What do we need to sell candles for? He's like, but they're really good. And I'm like, and judging my own self, I'm like, yeah, they're all right. He's no, Brittany, like, my house smells amazing right now. You need to sell these. I'm like, no, I'm good.
I'm telling you guys. Well, you guys know. Most of you have these already.
Kathy has her whole house is littered with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it wasn't something intentional. It was just a fun craft that I did one day, and it turned out so good. And it was the very first one was actually made out of recycled wax and essential oils, and it really came out pretty well. And he's like, well, let's sell them. And I'm like, but I don't want to be that person that opens up another Etsy shop or, uses YouTube as a and so I don't really talk about it much on my YouTube channel, because I don't want people to think that I'm on YouTube to sell my candles. I have a full-time job. I don't need really the side business. I do it because I want to, because it's something that I want to give back to the community. Not only that, but to put my power and energy to assist someone else, which we were talking about earlier before we went live. To be able to do that is because I love when other people assist me, when I get a candle or something from another witch that assists me in a spell. I'm like, all right, this is the coolest shit ever, to have my energy plus someone else's. I want to be able to do that to someone else's household or craft or whatever it may be. So I was like, all right, well, I'll just do it as a side thing, like whatevs. And it's just something that I started because for me, it's an outlet, but it's also for me to give back to the many people who have given to me, in a sense. And that's why I started Finding Avalon Candle Company. And it's not a really big, huge form of income. It's just play money. Or what happens, honestly, is when you buy a candle, I'm setting it in the person shop. So you can make money in that. Like, she walked through the wheels, I think it's gracious of Mala. I want to go buy something from her, so the money actually just kind of goes in a circle, us supporting each other, which I think is so great about this community. Is so many people are open to supporting so many different artisans. It's just, I freaking love it. I really, really do.
I do think it's important to make your stuff if you can, if you have the ability, because you're compounding that. But like we were talking about, and you just said, imagine taking that other person's powerful energy and mixing that with your own. I mean, it's just a beautiful thing. And if you're not,
point, it's possible.
Yeah, and if you don't want to be in a coven, but that is almost like being in a coven because you're getting that other person's power.
Yeah, it is totally true. And I think, people ask, do you belong to a coven? I'm like, no, but I created one unintentionally because I totally feel sometimes that YouTube is my coven. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We come together during Sabbats. We come together Amethyst. We come together and talk about spell work and share spells with each other and just, life advice as far as our craft or just life is concerned. I mean, isn't that what a coven does?
Yep.
So in a way, we inadvertently started our own coven without realizing it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, do you know what your tarot birth cards are?
I had to actually figure this out, but I wrote it down. I believe, if I remember correctly, if I actually looked it up, yes, it's the Death and the Emperor.
Okay.
Death card and the Emperor are my birth cards, which was kind of surprising to me, but kind of made sense once I looked more into it. I'm like, all right, this completely makes sense. I mean, I am the person of completely dying and rebirth all the time. I mean, that's pretty much been my life since birth. Is I'll see something through to the end, it will die, and I will start something else. I mean, if you look at my YouTube existence, just as an example, way back 10 years ago, and Karen can contest to this because she's with me for the long ride. I must have had like 10 different YouTube names. I was constantly reinventing myself. I was constantly being reborn. I would get bored with something, I would kill it and move on. Even with just life, I will start something, find a goal, achieve it, so it's dead, and I would start a whole another journey. So I would totally say the Death card, absolutely, the whole entire metamorphosis and being reborn into something else in my life happens constantly, and I subconsciously make that happen without even realizing. I reinvent myself all the time. As far as the Emperor, I've sort of figured that out. I haven't 100%. But the parts that I have figured out, I would definitely say are 100% accurate as far as the Emperor is concerned. I think it's two sides to the same coin, 100%.
What is your life path number? Are you a 4? Yeah. Okay.
I'm a 4. Yeah, I looked that up too, and I'm like, and I started reading into it because I was reading the questions for the interview, and I'm like, oh, well, let me figure this out. So I went and I looked, I'm like 4, and I started reading it, and I'm like, oh, well, shit. Well, that is me pretty much. Yeah, absolutely.
September Crow says that she was the YouTube Sybil.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
That's funny.
Yeah, that was me. Yeah.
She also said that Kathy had the best response. It was candle porn when she got all of your stuff.
I haven't seen Kathy's unboxing of her shipment of Finding Avalon Candle Company. I mean, I had my husband watch it. We watched it 2 or 3 times. It was absolutely hysterical because this was a genuine opening. I mean, she hadn't seen it. She hadn't, and she bought a lot of candles. She cleared me out. She cleared me out of all my, she bought everything on the website. And you see her open it, and her dog Wee Wee's like the best thing ever. And she's going through it, and the genuine reaction that Kathy has is the most funniest, awesomest thing ever. And she's like, don't even buy candles, just buy a box.
I know. I watched it. It was funny.
Oh, it was great. She's amazing.
Sorry.
Yeah, she's unapologetically funny. Like, she's not trying to be funny. That's just Kathy. That's just who she is.
After I did my video, when I got my stuff, other people had mentioned that they tried going and buying some of the stuff, but there was nothing left because Kathy had bought everything.
I woke up one morning. It was the morning. She ordered late at night, and of course she's in California, so she's 4 hours. I think 4 hours back. And so I had already gone to bed when she placed the order. I woke up in the morning. I'm literally on the toilet because, in the morning I get up, I go pee. So I'm sitting on Facebook and on my, my candle orders. I'm like, what the hell? Is this even real? I actually woke up my husband at 6:30 in the morning. I'm like, dude, I get no inventory. He's like, wait, what? I'm like, Kathy bought every single freaking candle in my whole damn shop.
Yeah.
Oh, it was funny. It was so funny.
Mine has lasted a long time. I mean, I burn this all the time.
Oh yeah, they last forever. They do. They last a couple months, and so when I first launched the company, I had an influx of so many orders that I could barely keep up with them, and then it kind of died. And so my husband goes, well, why did your business die? I go, it's not that it died, it's just that these candles last so long that you gotta wait until the candle's done.
Exactly.
They're huge. The pictures don't do them justice. They are rather large. So you buy one candle, it's going to last you a couple months. You're not going to need another one for a while.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're going to have a kind of a roller coaster ride when it comes to my candle shop.
Let me just say, Yankee Candles doesn't have shit on you, honey. When it comes to, I'm serious, the smell that comes from these things, when I opened up the package, I just did not want to take my face out of it. I'm serious. It smelled so good. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot of people are. The funny thing is that for me, I have a specific measurement of everything I do, but I become so nose blind to it because they're all made in my kitchen, completely by hand. And I think because I'm dealing with so many essential oils all at once and there's steam coming in my face, I become so nose blind to it that I forget that they smell so strong. And, every time I drop off a package to the post office, they're just like, do I have to send this or can I just keep this right here? And I'm just like, I'm sorry, but you got to send that, so they're just like, what is in this box? I'm a candle company. I'm like, you can smell that? She's like, yeah, I can smell that. I don't realize how strong they are because I'm all in it,
What do you use? Do you use
it's a mix of essential oils and actual candle fragrance oil. I like to personally use more essential oil blends than use candle fragrance oil. But the candle fragrance oil I use is as organic as it can possibly get, which is usually comprised of essential oils. But wherever I can, I will just I'll just dump essential oils in there. But it has to be, the thing about candles is when I started making candles, I thought to myself, well, how hard could this be? You pour wax into a mold, put some color in it, blah, blah, and call it a day. My very first candle wouldn't burn at all because you have to have a certain ratio of color, oil, and wax. If you have too much, it is science, because if you have too much of one of the three components, it's going to suffocate the wick and the wick isn't going to burn. Yeah. So you have to have a certain amount of color or else it'll suffocate. If you put too many essential oils in it or too much oil, fragrance oil, whatever it may be, it will suffocate the wick. Same thing with the wax. You can't put soy, beeswax, and regular paraffin wax together all in one candle, which I learned the hard way because it won't burn. It has to be either one or the other or just two components. So there's a lot more. There's a lot of science that goes into candle making that I didn't think was a thing until I actually did it. And I'm like, oh, this is a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. Shit. So
I didn't realize how much of an art form it was until I got your stuff. I was like, oh my God.
I mean, you make candles. You've had ones that, have you ever had one that just the wick wouldn't burn because you did
dollar
something?
Store.
Yeah. The wick has to be the right size too. There's I didn't realize there was 10 million different sizes of wicks and different weaves and whatnot. And I'm like, so I had put a tiny little wick inside of a huge candle and it tunneled. And that was a huge problem. And I had to realize, okay, the bigger the candle, the bigger the heftier wick you have to use. That's another part of it too, And then you see these things on Facebook about putting crayons as coloring. Can't do that. It suffocates the wick. And a lot of people don't realize that, I'll just throw a crayon on there and that can color the candle. No, you can't do that either. There's just so much that goes into it. You think it's so easy, but it just really is not.
It's definitely a science. It's definitely alchemy. Okay. Definitely.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%.
Yeah. I know we got a little bit off target there, but
we do. We squirrel moments.
I love your candles. I just got to keep, putting it out there. What is your sun sign, honey?
Libra.
Oh, okay.
I'm a Libra. I try to have balance in everything, whether it be my interactions at work, whether it be my home life. I feel justice has to be in everything. And I feel so, I don't know, discombobulated when I don't have my even scales, whether it be at work when I feel something's not right and someone's doing something wrong, or it be, you know, my husband's doing something stupid. Hold on. You know, or if I don't feel like I'm being the best person I can be, in my scales a little bit, you know, tilted. I want equality for everybody. I'm all about everybody getting the same opportunity as everybody else. And I think that kind of goes into the way I teach my classrooms. You know, I'm setting these managers up for the next level of success. You know, this is their career, but your career also goes into your life. So I'm teaching these people how to live a better life and be the best manager they can be. And so that I'm kind of trying to start them off with those even scales. Mm-hmm. So I'm a very much scaly, even person. I don't like conflict at all.
So you're definitely a true Libra then.
Oh, yeah. It's ridiculous.
My sister's a Libra. She's like that too.
Yep.
So what is your current favorite tarot card then?
Oh, this one, I had to kind of figure out how to kind of look into it. But I would definitely say my favorite tarot card is the 10 of Wands. So the reason why I kind of picked this out of my favorite tarot cards is it's about responsibility, strength, commitment, maturity, burdens, and exhaustion. So from people that have watched my latest video that I posted earlier this morning, I tend to push and push and push and push until I'm exhausted. You know, for instance, a good example of the way that I've been for the past month, on Thanksgiving morning, we all came into the building at 3:00 in the morning, and we had to set up pad by pad. What I mean by pad is department by department. Toys came out, then home lines, then electronics. We had to strategically put the stuff, because we had thousands and thousands of pallets of Black Friday merchandise. And we had to strategically put it, and I was part of the inside team, inside the store. So as these pallets are coming in, I had to direct them where they need to go. And I screwed up toys. I was in charge of the toy department at one point, and I screwed it up really bad. I mean, there were toy pallets like in the middle of the alley. They were everywhere. I was like, just get it in the building. Just get it in the building. But then when Julie, who's the team captain, came over, she said, take a lunch. Go relax. Go take a break. And I'm like, no, I made this mess. I'm going to see it through. She's like, but Brittany, you're working for 5 hours straight with this toy stuff. We can figure it out. I know you made a mess, but we'll figure it out. I go, no, I made the mess. We're going to figure it out. I'm going to strategically put these pallets where they need to be. They're all messed up. This is my doing. I'm the kind of person I have to see things through. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty much why I picked that card, because this past month has been me pushing and pushing, because I cannot walk away from something I started. So I felt that was kind of my favorite card at the moment, because that's kind of how I feel at the present moment.
Okay. I love that you pulled out something that was not a major arcana card.
Oh, people do that?
Yeah. I love that you did that.
Yeah, I would definitely say that would be my favorite card as of right now.
Okay. That is a really good answer. So what is your significator card in the tarot?
Oh, this kind of threw me for a loop too. It's the Queen of Swords. Okay. So this kind of threw me for a loop because I hate the sword suit. I absolutely hate it. It terrifies me. Every time I pull swords in any kind of reading, even though they're not meant to be kind of the black sheep, they're not meant to be the bad suit. There's a whole flip side to that whole entire suit that people don't look into. They automatically see negative, which is what my brain tends to do. The Queen of Swords is a powerful card, and I didn't understand why this was my card. And I think the biggest part that I pulled out from this when I discovered this was my card was the independence. I'm a very independent person. You know, yes, I depend on my husband for certain things and my kids and my job. But when all is said and done, I like to be kind of free to be me, to not have to deal with, you know, any bullshit, and just kind of be, this is me, this is my life. You know, I'm okay with being alone. Doesn't mean I'm lonely, I'm okay with being alone and doing my own thing. Hence how this room even evolved. You know, when we moved from the apartment to buying a house, I said, I need my own room. He's like, you need your own room. I'm like, Anthony, I'm a very independent person. I like to take reign over my own thing, my own spirituality, my own life. I like to have my own space to be. Yes, as much as I love you guys with all my heart, I want to close this door and be my own queen, you know? And so when I pulled this and I realized this was my signifier card, I was kind of like, okay, this completely makes sense, you know? But also I have a lot of demons and a lot of darkness too that I have over the years, the past 13 years, even the past year, 2019, become the queen of. I've come on top of and be like, hey, this shit happened to me, but I'm okay with it. So there's a lot of shadow work that I've become, you know, sticking my sword in that and being like, all right, I'm done. I'm good with this. So this makes sense. At first, I was like, wait, what? But it does. Completely makes sense.
It also kind of makes sense because you said that you overanalyze everything, right?
Oh,
the swords are all about thought and communication, right? So it definitely makes sense. And you like the scales as being a Libra. You like things to be balanced. And the Queen of Swords just cuts through the bullshit.
Yeah, it does. It pretty much cuts the bullshit. I don't like to do the bullshit, you know, the beating around the bush and the lies and the deceit. And that's what you get from my channel as well. I'm just in front of a camera. And people that, you know, Ashley Michelle, who has come to my house and been in the witchy room and spent a day with me, you know, anybody that has met me off camera, off this platform, knows that I'm the same kooky, silly Brittany that I am on this camera. There's no bullshit. Yeah, there's editing when I say something stupid that I want to cut out. But as far as my personality and who I am, this is what you get.
Right. I love that. Denise asks, though, before we move on, what is your moon and your rising sign? Do you know?
Scorpio. Scorpio is my moon. I don't know what my rising is, but I think Scorpio, it was what I checked out for my moon sign, which I still don't understand. If anybody can figure that one out, I don't get it.
Scorpio is water, right?
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't understand Scorpio.
So are you highly intuitive?
Not really. I mean, I know, you know, my sister's an empath, and we talked about that briefly on my live show. I've realized in the past couple years that I have a hard time around large crowds of people. When, even for instance, Thanksgiving morning, I talked about, you know, we went in at 3:00 in the morning. When the people started actually filtering, there's people everywhere. I got a headache and I started to feel suffocated. You know, I was trying to get these pallets out. I want to get out of there. You know, same thing with any kind of festival we go to or anything like that. Like I'm like, okay, I can't deal with the tons of people. And it's not necessarily that I feel their emotions. I don't think it's just I don't feel like I can deal with that many people in one place. I'm not really sure what it is, if that has anything to do with, you know, my moon sign, but large crowds of people drive me nuts. With my sister, for instance, if you're feeling sad, but you don't even tell her, she can walk in the room and feel it automatically. It's like, oh crap, you know, and I'm like, oh, I hate the fact that you're an empath, because if I'm upset or depressed about something, I can't hide it. She'll walk into the room and I'm like, oh crap, now I gotta spill my beans. Because she can feel it and she knows. And I'll try to deny it. She goes, Brittany, come on, seriously, this is me you're talking about. And I'm like, oh, fine.
Yeah, me and my sister are very, very similar. But, you know, there's a difference. You can be an empath. It's just like when you get in traffic. My sister, oh my gosh. And I have it to a small degree when I get in traffic. But because I recognize it, it changed. But my sister, she would just go crazy in traffic. I mean, she's a Libra. She's sweet as can be, right? And she doesn't like conflict. Everything is balanced, right? But you get her in traffic and a whole other side of her comes out. I mean, she'll be like sticking her head out the window going, really? Do you got to walk that damn slow? And I mean, just shit like that, right? So it's because when you are on the road, all these other people that are trying to get to their places, they're maybe running late for work or a doctor's appointment, or somebody's not paying attention at the light, so they're, you know, waiting another whole round if it's like a turning light or something. causes a lot of stress and their energy gets pushed up. So other people that are sensitive to that pick it up. So when you don't like large crowds and stuff like that, you're not necessarily going to be picking out one person's emotions. You're feeling it all and it becomes overwhelming.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
I can completely understand that. Like, even when it was probably, we were supposed to get out at 12. And because we were behind schedule because I screwed up toys, we didn't get out until 1. And it was about 12:15. And I had a migraine headache. I couldn't deal with it. And this customer walks up to me and I'm pulling a pallet. It comes up to me and he goes, "Are you having a really bad day?" And I hadn't talked to anybody. I was just doing my work. And I'm like, "Yeah, could you tell?" He's like, "Yeah, you just look like you're mad at the world." And I just start cracking up laughing. And he's like, "But I just made you smile." And I was just like, it just changed for him to feel it, to notice that I was not feeling it. I was done with this day. I just want to go home and cook my damn turkey. And I'm pulling this pallet. And the fact that he came up to me and said, like, "Okay, she's not right." I just started cracking up laughing. And he's just, "Now I just made someone's day. I'm good with the rest of my life." So it made me feel like, all right, well, if other people can notice the fact that I'm grumpy, we need to change this right now. So I just started laughing at everything. I just started having a good old time. And then so Julie comes over and she's like, "You're being like delirious." I'm like, "It's time to have fun. It's 12:45 at this point. We're out of here in 15 minutes. Let's get this done. Let's go." So it's funny how some people can pick up, because I noticed he picked up and I didn't think I was giving any signals that I was mad at the world, but I was mad at the world.
It's probably that resting bitch face.
Probably. I get really bad.
I say that about my husband because he looks so damn grumpy, but he's not. I mean, he's a teddy bear, but he's just got that. So, all right. So, I'm sorry, I've got a cat up on my table, and he's mean. So now Sully and him are like this. What decks are you currently working with?
All right, so I usually use one Oracle deck and one Tarot deck a month, and I like to switch it up every month. I think that as pagans and witches, we love to collect the Tarot. We love to collect the Oracle. It's just something we can't stop doing. It's kind of like nail polish. You just can't stop. You need to have every single one. And when someone releases one with amazing artwork, you feel drawn to it, you buy it. But my fear of having this big, huge, massive Tarot and Oracle collection was that they would sit and collect dust. So I make sure I switch it up every single month. 1 month I'll do Tarot of one kind and Oracle of another. So this month specifically, I am working with the Silver Witchcraft Tarot. That's from the cards that I've been showing you throughout this. But
Beautiful.
The only disappointment to this deck is that it came just like this. And I thought it was going to come with a guidebook of some sort, and it comes with a cheap little white piece of shit book. So that's the only downfall to it, but it's an amazing deck otherwise. And then the Oracle deck that I'm working with for December I work with this every December. This is Colette Baring-Reid's Postcards from Spirit. This is an amazing Oracle deck. If anybody is not familiar with it, it's like getting a postcard from Spirit or even your loved ones every single day when you pull a card. And the cool thing about these is they're set up just like little postcards. So you get this little postcard, and the postcard stamp says 2 cents from heaven.
Aww.
And it's a cute little postcard. And then when you turn it over, it has this message from Spirit or from even your loved ones. And what I tend to do is I'll draw 3 cards of Tarot and put the whole thing together, kind of where I am right now, where the middle of the week is going to kind of put me and what I can expect for the end of the week, and then an Oracle to sum the whole thing up. So to have the two intermingled together, this is kind of cool. And I think I tend to do the postcards from Spirit every December because I had bought this deck when I was really missing my dad who passed away. And I found this deck at Barnes & Noble. And I loved the idea of getting a postcard from someone either you lost or just from Spirit in general, whatever that may be to you. And I started pulling a card and putting it towards what my parents or someone I'd lost or Spirit had some message they're trying to give me, and I connect with it so much, and it really strings that I fell in love with this deck. Now, some people might say, like, isn't that kind of like a Christian kind of thing, you know, because it's kind of heaven and you're getting postcards from heaven? No, it's from spirit, you know. It's from, you can put it as, you know, as you're shuffling, what do the ones I've lost that are no longer here want to tell me, or, you know, what is that spirit guidance want to tell me? But it's a cute, really cool way to kind of get in contact with spirit, is to get a postcard from them, and I love the way that she set this up. That's what I'm working with in December, is the Silver Witchcraft Tarot, and the Postcards from Spirit by Colette Baron Reed.
Very nice. I have not seen those before, but now I'm interested. Thank you, enabler. All right. I think I skipped one. What is your current favorite deck?
That was easy peasy. Dreams of Gaia. This is the Dreams of Gaia Tarot. Of course, Gaia is my matron goddess, so buying this deck was obviously a no-brainer. But the artwork on this deck is absolutely amazing, and it follows the elements and spirit as far as the actual structure of the deck. But if any of you ever have a chance to look through this deck, I think I did a review at some point on my channel of it, but it's an amazing deck. I love the structure, and it's always been my #1 favorite deck.
That's another one I don't have that I want. But, you know, I have been looking at that one for a while. It's been in my cart for a long time. So, but it is beautiful. Definitely
it is. It's
beautiful.
Absolutely stunning. I love the structure of it.
That is different than Rider-Waite, right?
Oh, very different. It follows its own pattern structure, the whole thing. You really have to. I don't read a lot of guidebooks when I usually read the guidebook for the cards. But the intro part of that deck, you really should read the guidebook, because it explains the earth, air, fire, water, spirit system that it goes on, so that when you're drawing the cards, yes, it's in the same kind of structure as far as how you draw cards and how you read them, but as far as how the structure intertwines in your subconscious is completely different. So you have to read that before you actually do your readings.
Now I'm really intrigued.
Oh, it's so good. You'll love it.
So would you say that you are a collector of tarot decks? And if so, how many do you currently own?
I don't, you know, the funny thing is I don't want to be a collector. And I think that's because I'm very picky with the decks that I choose to purchase, because they have to resonate with my spirit, because if they don't, they're not going to work for me, and I'm going to have to just sell them or, you know, trade them or something like that. So I'm very picky, but I love the idea of switching it up every month. So I want to have 12 Oracle and 12 Tarot total. Now, that will obviously change as far as filtering them out, because I think that decks serve their purpose for a certain part of their lifetime, and I think that they evolve, move on, and a new deck might come into your life. But I want to have an equal amount of both. So I always have a different tarot deck, a different Oracle deck to work with for the 12 months of the year. I'm not quite there yet. I don't have an equal 12 and 12 yet. I think I have like 15. But I don't want to be a collector, because the idea of collector to me is collecting but not using. I want to make sure that everything I purchase I use, even that's with my craft and my spirituality. Everything I purchase, whether it be from a witch or, you know, a mass-produced item or whatever it may be, I want to make sure everything gets use, because that's what they're made for. They're made to be used. So I'm very picky when it comes to my tarot and Oracle decks and which one I pick.
That's cool. Let's see. Do you have a favorite book or artist right now?
My favorite book that I'm currently reading, and I'm just saying it's my favorite because I'm currently reading it, but it actually is one of the best books that I have bought in a long time. Actually, I didn't buy it; it was gifted to me. But anyway, that's beside the point. Is this book, The Modern Witchcraft Book of Tarot. So this is by Scott Alexander, and if you're a person like me who has dabbled in tarot, worked tarot for divination purposes for most of your path, and can never memorize the cards, always has to use guidebook, never really understands the cards until you open up the guidebook. Try to do intuitive readings, but you're not quite 100% there. This book really puts the tarot in layman's terms. It cuts out all the bullshit. It's just like your friendly person putting it in terms which you can understand. And I'm already in chapter 3. I just got, this is a Yule gift from my secret Yule swap in my coven group that I have on Facebook. But I've been wanting this book for a very long time. I've heard rave reviews about it. And I've read through many different books that explain the tarot. And it's all like, you know, all these big words and scientific reasons behind this. And this is this because of this. They don't put it in layman's terms, in simple terms where you can remember, where you can grasp things. The way she writes this book, she writes it as if she's talking to you. Like, right. It's not a book. You know, so you start reading it and you don't realize, but that you're comprehending the information. So I want to get all the other books. She has tons and tons of books. Her name is Sky Alexander. She has tons and tons of books on Wicca, witchcraft, you name it. She's got it. But if you're looking for a book to explain tarot in the simplest of modern terms, this is your book.
All right. Well, I'm going to have to get that one now too. Thank you. And yes, although I haven't done tarot, but only for maybe 2 years, maybe not even quite 2 years. But when I started at 47 years old, I'm going to be 49 here pretty soon. Let's just face it, my memory's not as good as it used to be. So that's exactly what I need, is things that are going to explain it in a way where it's easy for me to remember it, you know?
Right.
So that sounds perfect.
72 cards. I mean, how are you going to memorize that much? You know, the major and minor are completely two different separate books of the whole thing. And then you get to memorize this, the major and the minor. And there's just so many. I couldn't wrap my brain around it. And I bought this one book that was supposedly said to explain tarot to me in the simplest of forms. I read the book and I'm like, I don't understand what any of this gibberish is telling me. And it wasn't fun to read. She talks to you like she's your friend, you know? So the way she writes books, she writes them just like you and I are sitting here talking. And that's what's you're going to remember, you're going to comprehend it. And like I said, I'm in chapter 3 and I'm adoring the book. I'm adoring it. I want to buy the rest of all her books.
Awesome. So do you have a favorite season? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm like missing stuff. All right. Do you have a current TV series that you are enjoying? Besides Buffy, we know Buffy, okay?
No, I actually put a hold on Buffy because it started getting weird from she died and then came back to life. But anyway, strangely enough, it's not related to paganism whatsoever. And a lot of you are going to remember this from the 80s. Well, actually not 80s, 90s. ER. I am watching ER. I started watching the very first ER episode and I've just started going through them all. And for some reason, I can't stop watching it because the whole idea of how hard the medical profession works blows me away. And I know we have Trish Beanbag Hagwag and we have Vicky, who's lily pad, who work in the medical field. Shit, no, I can't do that shit. Hell no. I mean, yes, it's a drama. It's a fictional TV series. But from what I read online, part of the director's idea was to have a real ER doctor on the writing part of the show because he didn't want to portray anything that doesn't actually happen in an emergency room or doesn't happen in the medical field. So a lot of it, yes, while it's fiction, there's a lot of real life instances in that show. And just watching, and I'm just like, how do these people deal with this? You know, yes, the love of saving lives and stuff like that, and being, you know, part of someone to make them, you know, healthy and live a good life, but to lose people, I mean, to watch people die, I can't. Hats off to those who work in the medical field. No way I'd be able to do it.
And the lack of sleep.
I love that show. It's so good.
And doing it on such a lack of sleep.
Oh, I know. They show them like sleeping in like other rooms, like a room, an emergency trauma room that's not being used. They'll be sleeping in it, you know?
Yeah.
It's such a good show, though. I think it really encompasses the medical field as far as emergency room trauma is concerned pretty well. Of course, it's fictional, but it's pretty close to what emergency life residency would be like.
I didn't see that one coming.
I know. And it was funny because I was actually watching TV downstairs in the living room one day, and an episode, you know, because it's on syndication, had you know, rolled on. I'm like, oh shit, I'll watch this. I'm like, shit, this is really good. So I'm like, hey, I wonder if they have this on Hulu. And my husband's like, oh God, please don't have it on Hulu. I'm like, oh shit, they have it on Hulu. So I'm like, all right, wife, I won't see you for another couple months.
That's funny.
So I just sat there, just binge watched one after another. It's such a good show.
That's what I love binge watching.
Oh yeah.
Do. I just find it so sad when an episode is over because I want more, you know. So that's why I love to binge. I will purposely not watch something like Charmed, which kind of takes us into the next one, the new Charmed. I didn't watch any of second season, and then I started watching it all in a row. And I was really getting into it. So that's the next question then. Do you have a favorite witch movie or series?
This one was tough, and this actually got brought up in my wine and witchcraft I had on Sunday. Is the question was asked, what's the most realistic TV or movie series that portrays paganism or Wicca in any way, even though they're all fictional, the closest? I couldn't pick one. I was like, they're all so fictional. Like, even when you think they're trying to follow paganism, they do one slip up and you're like, okay, there goes the fiction, you know? Yeah. So it's really hard. But as far as if I would take all that out of it and just love it for what it is, Sabrina, the Teenage Witch, the new one, is by far one of my favorite series as of right now. I haven't watched the new Charmed yet. I know we talked about that in either my live or your live at one point. And I have a hard time. Like, I'm so attached to the 90s Charmed, you know. I just same thing with 90210 when they redid that. I'm like, do I really want to do this? You know, and thank God it was terrible and it didn't get renewed because it was absolutely horrific.
This is actually good. Charmed is good, but the second season is way better than the first season.
Really?
Way better. Yeah.
Okay. I also like Light as a Feather, but Light as a Feather is not really witchy. Yeah. Light as a Feather is on Hulu. It's kind of one of those mysterious, creepy type teenage mystery kind of
TV shows. It's some sort of curse.
Yeah, and it's kind of like remember like Pretty Little Liars? It's kind of the same genre.
Yeah.
Of the same thing. It's a mystery kind of TV show. But Light as a Feather, it's not witchy, but it's if you're witch, you're still gonna love it because it's one of those mystery things. We love mystery. But yeah, Light as a Feather is good. But Sabrina, absolutely 100% one of my favorite witchy TV shows as of recent that has come out. But of course, I love Buffy, as we all know. That's another kind of witchy-ish kind of fictional TV series that I like.
Vicky says, I've slept on x-ray tables.
Oh, yes. They have
My goodness.
They do that too. Yeah. There's no bed available. So he slept on an x-ray table. Yeah. That's on ER as well. Yep.
Oh, and Vicky says that she's digging the Discovery of Witches right now. That was really good.
So here's the thing. After my live and y'all talking about that and my sister being like, yeah, you got to watch it. I'm like, all right. Okay. The next day I went to go look this shit up, right? It costs money. I have YouTube Prime. Okay. I'm paying YouTube Prime monthly and it costs me extra money to watch that show. It's like $2.99 an episode, but I'm paying YouTube Prime. I didn't get it. I was like,
YouTube Prime or Amazon Prime?
That's what sorry. Amazon Prime. Yes. Amazon Prime.
Really?
I pay Amazon Prime. And it cost me extra on top of paying Amazon Prime. Yeah, because I'm like, okay, here it is. I'll watch it. So I went to go click it. I'm like, why is episode 1 not clicking? And look down below. It says, $2.99 per episode. I'm like, I pay you people $10 a month to have this service. Why am I going to pay you extra money to watch this show? So I'm a little disappointed that I can't watch The Discovery of Witches because it looked badass. And from hearing everybody talking about it in my live, I'm like, okay, I don't watch it. It
really is good. But I didn't watch it on Amazon. I watched it on Sundance.
And I don't have
Sundance is one of those that, it's like $10 a month or whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't have Sundance anymore. I paid for it and then I binge watched everything that I wanted and then I canceled it.
That's the American way.
Exactly. Vicky says, Fire Stick, baby.
I know. We used to have a Fire Stick too. We got rid of it, but I wish we still had it.
Yeah. All right. So do you have a favorite season?
Summer. Absolutely. I know that seems weird because I live in Florida. Like, don't you have summer year round? Actually, no. Right now, it's about 45 degrees outside. I know from some of you, you're like, really, Brittany, 45 degrees? 45 degrees for us is cold.
Yeah.
So it gets down to about 40 here, usually in the wintertime. It doesn't really get into 30s very often. If it does, it's very rare. 40 is usually the lowest. But summertime for sure. I mean, I moved to Florida from Boston. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously I must love the heat. So people are like, how do you deal? Aren't you like dying? I'm like, no, because everywhere you go is air conditioned. Like
Yeah.
it's really not that bad. And like while you're shoveling snow in April, I'm like, haha, relax.
Suckers.
It's one of those things. It's kind of so relative. So, but summer absolutely is my favorite season.
Okay. So, do you feel a stronger connection with a certain element?
I dabbled on this for a while and thought that air was the element that I was associated with, because my love of incense and stuff like that, and just scent. But I've come to find that water, I'm also very connected to. If I'm stuck in a rut, whether it be at work or at home, YouTube, for instance, if I hop in the shower, I know this sounds so weird. If I hop in the shower, all these, as the shower head is on me, the water's chugging, all these ideas just start flowing. I'm like, oh, that and that. The connection of water gives me like these ideas and this whole entire different, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but it helps me along in a lot of different ways that I wouldn't expect the water element to do. So I always feel like I get the best ideas in the shower. I don't know if I need an idea or I need something, go take a shower. My husband would be like, didn't you just already take a shower like this morning? I need to take another shower. Okay. Don't ask me any questions.
Well, I mean, if your moon sign is Scorpio, which is a water sign.
It makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really does. That's pretty cool. So, do you have any daily rituals that you do?
I wish I did. I really do. I wish, I see, the Barefoot Taurus. I think she recently changed her YouTube name, but she did a video on her morning routine, what she does in the morning. And I've seen a couple other videos where people have talked about what they do in the morning routine. I wake up so early that my life consists of getting up, going pee, checking Facebook, getting in the shower, getting dressed, brushing my teeth, brushing my hair, throwing on makeup if I have time, and getting in the car and driving to work. That's all at 6:15 to 6:30 in the morning. I'd have to get up extra early because, I work about 45 minutes away from where I live. So I'd have to get up, 5:15 to even have a morning ritual or morning kind of, practice. But that doesn't mean I can't do it on Saturdays and Sundays when I have the day off, because I have weekends off. So I want to get some kind of more of a morning daily practice where I wake up and maybe I draw a card, or I wake up and, I light some incense and just meditate for, even if it's 2 minutes, something simple to start my day. Very much the way that most Americans have breakfast. They have their thing, they get up and have breakfast instead of breakfast, because I don't eat breakfast. I drink Red Bull. So, to have that would be nice. But one thing I do every single Sunday, it's something that has been in my practice for the past 12 years, is every Sunday I do my card pulls for the week. Every Sunday I do my 3 tarot card pull plus my oracle pull. And that's to set me up for the week. That's something that has remained steady as far as doing something in my practice every single week.
Well, I mean, it sounds like you do still have a morning ritual. You get up and you take a shower, right?
Right.
You get on Facebook, you take care of your social media or whatever, and you have
Right.
your Red Bull instead of a coffee, right? That brings you energy, extra little get up and go.
Yep. And then I'm off. So, I mean, yeah, it is a routine. It's just not very spiritual in any sense. It's just kind of, doing human life.
Well,
really.
Let me ask you something. When you take your shower, do you imagine your whole body being cleaned, free of any negativity and stuff? Or is it just as quickly as you can get through it because you got to hurry?
It's not either or. It's kind of, I get in the shower, like, I'm thinking, okay, what's today? Today's Monday. Okay, I've got a new class going. Okay, so I've got 13 students. So I'm already starting thinking about it. I've got 13 students. Okay, well, the first module I got to cover is this. So I start preparing myself mentally. So as I go on throughout that whole entire brush my teeth, brush my hair, I'm still thinking, okay, by lunch I want to be at this module. Okay, I'm going through my whole entire day. And then on my way to work, it's shut all that off. Now I've mentally prepared myself. On my way to work is jamming out, is getting tunes, music, TV, or not TV, radio stations I love, and just having good vibes and just singing along, rocking out in my car. And then when I get to my work, it's all right, walking into the building. This is very strange. Well, it's probably not strange for you guys, but from the minute I get out of my car and I walk to the front of the building, I look at everything. I mean, from the sky to the trees to, you know, how the weather feels, where the sun position is. From that walk from my car to the front of the building, I'm noticing everything outside of the building. And then I take that in kind of along with my tarot for the beginning of the week. Okay, what does everything I'm seeing outside the building have to do with the tarot for the beginning of the week? And I put that together. I'm like, okay, this is the kind of day I'm going to have if I choose to. So that's kind of the way I do it.
Sounds kind of spiritual to me, honey.
Kind of is.
Even down to listening to the music to kind of pump yourself up, get yourself in the right frame of mind for the day. Mm-hmm. And you're running everything through your mind of, some could say, envisioning, right?
Right.
It's all in how you look at it, but it's still a routine and ritual.
Yeah, I guess it's become so mundane that I don't really think much into it, you know?
You're a witch. It's not glamorous, you know? It's not this. Anywho, you know. So, I was going to say, do you prefer coffee or tea? But you prefer Red Bull, right?
Yes. So as much as I love coffee, I love the flavor of it. I love going to coffee houses. It's something my sister and I do frequently. We'll go to different coffee houses. I love the art of coffee. I love the art of tea. I'm a big tea person too. You know, kava tea is one of my favorite teas. Hibiscus tea is another one of my favorite teas. But as far as their caffeine content, they don't even touch me. I love the flavor of them, but drinking Red Bull for the past 10 to 15 years, there's so much caffeine in Red Bull that now coffee is just really for the flavor. Doctors have told me I should quit the Red Bull. I know I should quit the Red Bull. But if I don't have my Red Bull, I can't, there's no kickstart. There's no, it's very weird. I mean, even to the point where my old position at Walmart, I was, you know, a department manager of the jewelry counter. And I was up at the jewelry counter and I'm just sitting there going through the motions. It's about 7:00 in the morning. I'm going through the motions. The store manager walks by, is like, "Hey, Britt." I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" He's like, "You haven't had your Red Bull this morning, have you?" And I'm like, "No, not yet." He's like, "All right, let's go. I need to get you Red Bull. You can't be on my front end looking like this." So even he knew, you know, it's just, Red Bull has been my go-to. I used to drink like 4 or 5 of them a day. It got bad at one point. But I've since cut back to 1 or 2. But yeah, at one point when I was a department manager, it was 4 or 5 a day. It was pretty bad.
My goodness. And you wonder why you get yourself burnt out, right?
I know,
yeah.
Right? Like,
jeez. Yeah, even Vicky says, sounds like a ritual to me.
I know. I guess I just never looked at it that way.
Nope. So do you have a special skill or hobby that you would like to discuss?
I don't really have a special skill. Hobby would probably be 2 different things. Obviously, my candle company. I guess that kind of takes skill in a sense that I've kind of acquired. When I mix the ingredients together and I do my thing, even my meditation of the candle that I'm pouring, I don't think about it. It just happens. Like I know if I'm making a candle for the intention of this, I don't think about it. It just happens. So I guess that can kind of go into a skill that I've kind of acquired over time. As far as hobby, I have a weakness for The Sims. Really, really bad weakness for it. It's really ridiculous. I'm not a big video game player, but as far as The Sims, to be able to create yourself in simulation and live your life in a house that you built and designed, and it's fun to me. It's a good pastime that I've had for the past, since The Sims came out like 10, 12 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Vicky Lilypad plays The Sims as well. They just came out with Making Magic, which is an expansion pack to it where you get to be a witch for reals. And to add my spirituality now into the game of The Sims, which I love to begin with, that was a whole... I didn't stop playing. I believe I had a Cheeto Puff in my hair at one point when I was playing. It was days and nights of me just glued into The Sims. It's just such a good video game.
I can so relate. Yeah, I play The Sims too. I haven't played it since I started YouTube because it takes up so much time, but
it does.
Yeah. It's fun. I don't have the expansion for the magic. What is it called?
Making Magic.
Making Magic. I don't
When
have that one.
you go to a secret realm and you ask the priestess and stuff if you know can I become a witch, and they go, you sure you want to do that? And you say yes, and they start teaching all these spells, and then you get a cauldron, and I mean it's fictional, but it emulates witchcraft in a very big sense, and your skills then move up as you move up in witchcraft, and it's you can then play, you know, do spells on your friends, that if you get a neighbor that keeps on bothering you, you can cast a spell on them to make them stop coming in, or turn them green, or turn them into frog, or whatever. You know, it creates a whole other world of The Sims, and it's been so much fun. I love The Sims. Hopelessly addicted.
Vicky asks, have you gotten University yet?
No, but I've watched tons of videos on it, and I was thinking about getting University. For those who don't know what The Sims are, it's a game on the computer or on PlayStation, Xbox, that you create yourself as a real life person, and you're God.
An avatar, so to
yeah,
speak.
you can basically live your life through the simulation, this little avatar of yourself, this little character you've created, down to the clothes, the fashion, the look, the hair, how fat you are, how skinny you are. You can create everything of your life, decorate your house, build a mansion if you want to. You get a job, you can go to the job. I mean, it's life simulation.
There's
really
a
cool.
exchange too, where you can download like
Yes.
big elaborate houses that other people have built.
Right.
Yeah.
So like if you create a house and I'm like, oh, I got to get Raquel's house, I can go and get your house, put it in my game. It's so cool. I love that game. Yep.
Exactly. All right. So this is taking much longer. It's too easy having conversations with you. That's the problem. What is your favorite holiday or Sabbath?
Favorite holiday as far as outside of paganism, Thanksgiving. And I know a lot of people have a lot of reservations about the history of Thanksgiving. But for me, because I am 50% British, one of my dad's passing wishes was to teach me the proper English way of cooking Thanksgiving. I mean, like, I come from Massachusetts, okay? So I come from where the Pilgrims were. So my dad's Thanksgiving is pretty much exactly the way the Pilgrims did it back then. So he wanted to pass down these traditions of how to cook the turkey right, how to have the sweet potatoes, how to do the corn right. I mean, things had to be the old English way, the way the Pilgrims did it. That's the way my dad was. I mean, my dad had a British accent. My dad was straight from England.
Wow.
So for me, when I think of Thanksgiving, I think of those traditions that my dad passed down, the fact that I am half British, and that is a big part of, you know, growing up in Massachusetts. I'm part of that culture. I'm part of that British American culture. So for me, that's what I see in Thanksgiving, where other people take it to a different level, which I understand, I get it. But that's what Thanksgiving is to me. It's a time to honor my dad, his cooking, the lessons he taught me. Not only that, my heritage as being a pilgrim, essentially, is where my heritage comes from. Thanksgiving, my non-pagan holiday. As far as pagan holidays, probably midsummer. And I think it's because my love of summer, but also the fairy realm, which is where I kind of kicked off my path in the very beginning, which I still follow very here and there. So definitely those would be my two favorite holidays and Sabbaths.
Okay. So has your reading style changed over time as far as like tarot and stuff?
Yes, because in the beginning I thought that I had to do everything right. I thought I had to have complete knowledge and memorization of all the cards. I wasn't allowed to really tap into books as I was reading cards, so I studied and studied and studied until I realized I couldn't cram all the 72 things in my brain. And then I learned how to just chillax, like, because you're not going to get an accurate reading if you're so uptight and trying to do everything, you know, some kind of stick perfect way of doing things. So my reading style is now turned into just relaxing, letting it flow, picking the cards the way my mind just goes without thinking too much into it. And while reading the cards, the first thing I do is look at the card. No books, no nothing, you know, just looking at the artistry and what I'm seeing kind of intuitively in the card. Whether that's right or wrong is to be determined later, but just to see what I see. Go through all the cards, then turn over the oracle that defines the whole week as a whole, put it all together, then tap into the books if I need to. Before it was, all right, turn them all over. Let's go into the books.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think, I mean, if you need to use a book, yeah, I think that's great. I still use books, but I think you should look at the card without books, without any kind of outside interference first, because a book could tell you one thing, but what you saw in the card may be more accurate than what the book tells you. So that kind of changed over time, because I thought I had to like go buy the book, how tarot and oracle was supposed to be either read or laid. That was how it was supposed to be. No, man, because that's going to be inaccurate if you're all uptight about it, you know? Just relax and just do your thing.
Exactly. I mean, if it's supposed to be the image that is like speaking to your higher self, or, you know, that connection that you have, even maybe you don't understand it. It's just something that you feel after looking at an image. How can that be wrong? You're the one that's reading the cards.
Right. Exactly.
So who cares whether or not the meanings? I like knowing what the meanings are, but I'm not going to let that limit me anymore. I think that's a limitation.
Right. And that's what I was limiting myself to. So yeah, it definitely has changed over the past 12 years for sure.
Awesome. Do you remember your dreams?
No. Well, no, I shouldn't say no. No, for like 85% of the time, unless either someone I lost loved one wise is in it. For some reason, I remember them. It's very weird. Like if my mom comes to me, you know, my dad or even anybody friend wise that I've lost, those I wake up remembering. Everything else, I have no clue. So it's almost like those dreams happen on purpose for me to remember them. And I remember them very vividly. Like even a year ago, I still remember this dream I had of my dad calling me on the phone, telling me he was in trouble and that he was sick and ill and he needed my help. And then me hanging up the phone going, okay, I'll be right there. And me trying to get to the hospital to see him. But every time I went, 5 feet, I get stuck. 5 feet, I get stuck. And at the end of the dream, I never got to the hospital. I never got to his bedside. And the reason why I never got there was because there's nothing I could have done. My dad died of lung cancer. So there's nothing, I never would have gotten there. There's nothing I could have done to change the outcome. As much as I wanted to get there, there's no way I would have been able to do it. And this was last Samhain-ish time that this dream came to me. And I still remember it clearly and being aggravated that I never finished the dream and got to his bedside. Well, there was a reason why the dream played out the way it was. My dad was trying to tell me there's nothing, because when he died, I was in Germany. I was stuck in Germany. And there was nothing I could have done. Like, listen, right. I'm dying of lung cancer. There's nothing, you coming to my bedside and saying goodbye is not going to make me not die. I'm going to die. So it's almost like that dream was like, hey, Rick, chill. I know you didn't get to see me because you were in Germany. I get it. It doesn't make it any different. The situation is still the same. But it's those dreams that, I'll remember them. And if I remember them vividly, I will make sure I write them down, because those are the ones that are meant to come through for a reason, since I don't remember any of my other dreams. The ones are just frivolous and whatever. But if someone's trying to tell me something, I will remember it 100%.
Yeah, I definitely could see that from the description of that dream.
Mm-hmm.
What you said. I think it was your own mental stuff and your dad saying, hey, stop already. Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. It's not the end of the world. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He knew that you loved him, So let's see. Is there a time period that you feel drawn to?
The 70s. 100% the 70s. I was born in 81. So the good thing about me being born in 81 is I got to see best of both worlds. I got to see the world before technology, and I got to see the world during and after technology's boost. But still part of me wants to go back to the 70s when people didn't care. There wasn't people saying like, oh my God, what did that comment mean on Facebook? Or you're being this way on social media. There was none of that stuff. It was, everybody just loved everybody.
Simpler. It was a simpler time.
It was all about love and peace. And yes, there was wars going on, and that part sucked. But at the same time, it almost brought the country together in a way I've never seen since. Granted, I wasn't there in the 70s. However, from what I've seen, learned from my parents, stuff like that, heard stories from people who did live through it, we've never come together as a nation the way we did in the 70s. And that's kind of bothersome. It was also when our environment wasn't so much in danger. It was a good time. Even though it was the worst of times, it was the best of times.
Yeah.
So I almost wish I could go back to, maybe start from 1972-ish. and kind of go right through the 1980, just to see that whole era. And some of the best music was born through that time. I really wish I could have experienced the 70s.
71. I was born in 71.
There you go. See what I'm saying?
Yeah. Vicky said, I was so happy when they let same-sex people be together on The Sims, I'm guessing is what she was talking about.
Yes. They finally did that. Yeah, I do it all the time. All the time. Yeah. All the time. Like, oh, you're cute.
Come on over to my place, honey.
Yeah, I do it all the time. But you want to adopt a child? I'm like, let me adopt 3.
Exactly. Were you raised into your path, or you veered off from your family?
No, my mother and father were both agnostic. So people get confused of atheist and agnostic. Atheist is a completely different thing. Agnostic means you believe in some kind of higher power or something else is going on out there. You just haven't really narrowed down. You don't know what it is, but you know something exists beyond what we're doing here on Earth. So they were kind of just agnostic. They kind of decided, hey, you do you. I'm going to give you the freedom to explore what you want to explore. You figure it out. Whatever you choose, you do you. So my parents were great in that respect, especially my dad being British, coming from England, where Catholicism is huge. His dad was a minister and all that kind of stuff. But my dad broke away from the church and decided, I want to just be me. Let me discover what I want to discover. My parents were the same way. So I didn't really break away from my parents' rule. They pretty much gave me the freedom. And I discovered a lot of religions. I was Buddhist for a year. I studied Catholic, Christianity. I studied all of it. And at one point I decided none of this stuff makes any sense. So screw religion. And this was about maybe 18, 19 years old. I'm like, this stuff is stupid. And it wasn't until later on in life when I actually became an actual adult that I'm like, all right, I'm a spiritual person. I know that I can feel something. I gotta look deeper to figure out what this is. But I think the benefit of my parents letting me try different religions, discover different religions is I understand a little bit of all of them. So, when I say, yes, I'm a pagan witch, but a Buddhist comes up to me and says this, and this, I can be like, I got you. I see you, but let me show you this side. So being able to see Christianity, my sister's also Christian still. So, being able to see all the different elements, I have more respect for the different elements. I only wish that all Christians and Buddhists could be pagan for a year, so they could understand it and then they could have the respect, kind of thing.
Yeah. See, I think religion and being a witch are two totally different things. You can be any religion and be a witch because it's about practicing a different kind of spirituality. Now, if it wasn't for that religion saying, no, you can't.
Right.
That's where I see the difference there.
There's a lot of people who separate the two. I can kind of see that. I can see the two, but I can also see the whole. I can see both sides of the same bubble.
Absolutely. So, if you could have a deep conversation with anyone during any time in history, who would it be and why?
Any time in history, who would it be and why?
Hi, Heather, by the way.
This might sound a little weird, but probably John Lennon. And I think John Lennon because he saw something in the future that could be, and he pushed for that, being a celebrity, he pushed for peace, he pushed for a whole new world because he saw that it was possible. And he never quite got there. And I almost want to sit down with him and be like, what do you see? Like, how do you see it? Where can we help now in 2019 to envision where you had this vision where everybody could be happy and love one another and the whole world could stop this war crap. And he said, she said, and this religion, that religion, this political stance and this political stance. How does that work in your bubble? Can you explain to me? Maybe we can now put forth what you had in mind. So I think everybody always says they want peace on earth. Everybody always says they want everybody to love each other. This was a man who actually had the vision for it. but it
Mhm.
never got there. His song Imagine all the people. He had the vision for it, and it never really got there. And I think if I could go back in time and sit down with him and have a couple beers and be like, all right, let's pour the cards on the table. How do you see this working out? This is where we're at now. This is where you were when you died. Let's bridge the gap. I think that would be kind of cool.
Oh, yeah. Right on. Hi, Julianne.
Hey, Heather and Julianne.
September Crow says, you really need to do a video on why you took a break from paganism.
Oh, yeah. I've never done that video. Yeah, because I took a break off of paganism for, God, 7 years, if not a little bit more than that. I kind of just packed up all my witchy stuff and just left it all behind. And that's a whole different chapter. I really should do a video on that. That's a really good idea. I keep on saying I'm going to do that and never do it. I need to do that.
We want to hear it.
Yes. I know.
We want all the nitty gritty. So if you could go to any event in history, what would it be and why?
Any event in history. I think I'd probably go back to the time when Jesus was around. The only reason I say that is because we have so many misconceived notions of who Jesus was, because he was a real person. Let's not deny that. Whether or not you're Christian or Catholic, whether you're pagan, whatever, it doesn't even matter at this point. I mean, history has proved the guy existed.
Yep.
I think to go back and witness it myself would be kind of cool, because then I could have a more of an idea of what the book was all about. Was it a whole bunch of drunk guys sitting around a campfire and writing out, what's best in life to follow? Or did it really happen?
Mm-hmm.
I think to go back to the time of Jesus would be kind of cool, knowing what we know now and what we perceive him as now. The way paganism has kind of tried to outcast Catholicism, because, we were the number one original, which we were. Paganism was the first religion of this earth. I get it. But let's not deny the fact that stuff doesn't get born out of nothing. I mean, Jesus did exist. So how and where and why did this happen to the point where it would become a religion? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I want to kind of go back to meet this guy. Is this guy just, some drunk guys sitting around thinking this guy walked on water, that kind of thing. I want to go back and see what that was really all about, That's
Absolutely.
kind of my answer for that one.
There's other stories that I've heard, because Vicky says, and where was he between baby and 33 at 33 years old? Absolutely. I've heard that he went to Turkey and India and studied with many other people. And look at, he was very friggin' pagan. I'm sorry. He was telling the other priests and the Pharisees and the scribes, okay, that you don't need to have the big churches. And still, you see it now today. All that money's going towards building this big cathedral. How about feeding people? How about healthcare, helping people with that, instead of having this big elaborate building? I'm sorry. Or like these other preachers that you see that have these big, there was one guy that said, I need a fourth jet airplane.
Yeah.
Come on. How could people even support that?
Right. And I think that's why I think it'd be great to go back and be like, okay, Jesus, who are you really? Did this really happen? Who are you born from? For all we know, we could have the whole story completely wrong. We know the guy existed. That's beyond the point, because history and DNA and genetics have proved that whole situation, scientific proof. But I think the story somehow along, it's kind of like the game of telephone. The game is, you tell someone something, and by the time it gets around, something completely different. And I think somewhere along the line, Jesus' story and where Catholicism and all that stuff was born is a little misconstrued. So if I could go back, and especially like these abandoned malls that would be turning into churches, what do you need a mall for? Like, seriously, to turn into a church?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. If we can practice in our own little witchy rooms, why can't you practice in your house?
Exactly. I mean, especially now we've got technology, right?
Right.
The dog keeps walking by and knocking my shit out. But I mean, seriously, if you had a camera and you wanted to preach to your congregation, there you go, right?
Right. Yeah.
Why do you got to spend tons of money when we've got issues with not being able to feed people, not getting fresh water to people, housing for the homeless people?
Right.
Come on. Hello.
Exactly. It makes no sense. No sense at all.
Ugh. Okay, so the last question. What do you wish to gain going forward with your YouTube channel?
I started this and I think a lot of people on YouTube have said the same thing. We start this to meet other like-minded people, because in our everyday mundane lives, a lot of witches are afraid to come out as witches. So they're secretly living a witch life, and you have no idea. You go through life. Out of 365 employees, I'm sure there probably is another witch in my building, but I don't know, so they keep it so hidden secret. That finding another pagan or witch sometimes in our everyday mundane lives is harder than you think. So to come on a platform and share, head noise with another witch is a whole nother way of living. I absolutely adore when I get to meet someone off the camera. Like when Ashley and Michelle came down and got to visit me, we got to share paganism, talk shop, and it was fun to be able to sit down and talk with someone that I had met via this platform. She's sitting right next to me, and people always say, oh, you met her online. That's like fake life. That's not real life. No, this is real life. Yes, it's YouTube. It's a social platform, but we're still people, Exactly. Yes, we're in a camera, but we're still people. So I think I never really wanted to gain any popularity from YouTube. That was never my thought or gain from YouTube. I just wanted to chit chat. Yeah. I just wanted to have a couple glasses of wine and chill with my friends. That's how it all started out, and it has blown up into something that I didn't expect. I'm grateful for it every day, because the different ideas and knowledge that I've gained from just shooting the shit with people, is what does it come down to? That's why I love lives, is we can sit here and chat with people in real time, which is so cool, because it makes me feel not so alone. But I think that, where I really want my channel to go is kind of nowhere and everywhere at the same time. Like, I don't have any long-term plans. Like, I want to become a YouTube celebrity witch. I don't really want to have 3,000 subscribers or 10,000 subscribers. That's not my goal. I honestly, at 1,000, I stopped even looking. I don't even know how many I have right now, to be honest with you.
I'll say you're getting pretty close, honey. I don't want that 3,000.
Yeah. So I stopped looking, because it's not about that. But part of me feels empty when I'm not with it. Yeah. When I had to take this hiatus, not on purpose, just because life got insane. And I made that in my last video, how life just got so turned upside down over the past 3 weeks, where I had to step away, not on purpose. I missed it. I felt empty. Like, I need to go watch someone's damn video. Like, it's not even about me creating the videos. Just, because what I would do on my lunch break is, as you guys were pumping out the videos through the week, on my lunch break, if I didn't have time, I would sit there and eat my hamburger or whatever and watch you guys on my phone. That was part of my ritual, Exactly. So to not have that, I felt so lost. I'm like, my spirituality kind of just, kind of quieted down, and my life quieted down. And so from my YouTube channel, I really just want the connection. I want to be able to show people that you don't need to be anything special to be a witch. You just need to be you, essentially. Bring your silliness, be kooky, be funny, be you. It doesn't matter what color you are, how old you are. I have friends on here that are in their 60s. It doesn't matter. I have friends in here that are 20, so it's, age doesn't matter, race doesn't matter, sexuality doesn't matter. We're all just people trying to get through this thing called life. And to share that with somebody is kind of where I want my channel to be. Just kind of be that girl you can connect with and have laughs with, So nothing too special, but to have that camaraderie and that connection with people, definitely 100%.
Right on, sister. I love that. Okay, so let me ask you. Do you mind if I open this up now for other people to ask questions of you?
Go ahead. It's a free for all. It's a free for all.
Guys.
You're welcome.
I do want to say, though, that September Crow says Christians used to gather worship in someone's living room. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why does it got to be all elaborate? I mean, Jesus Christ would pull people onto the side of the, the hill or whatever,
Yep.
and just talk to people out in nature,
and that's one thing I don't understand. Okay, you build this huge cathedral, whether it be, $1,000 worth of material or $10,000 worth. You build this huge cathedral to sit in a plaster and brick building to do what different? Like, I don't understand why you need this huge building to do what.
You know what? Even if it is a huge building, if you have a huge congregation, I get that. But it doesn't have to be all elaborate. It doesn't have to have, all the stone masonry and all that good stuff that just costs tons. You know what I mean?
That's a really good point too, because I think with paganism and witchcraft, one of my biggest viewed and commented and liked videos is the one where I toured my witchy room, and some of the comments were like, one day I wish I could have a witchy room like you, blah blah blah. It's not about the room. It's really not. Now, people have to remember this room serves as a lot more than just my witchy room. This is also where I go read a book, whether it's witchy or not, it doesn't matter. This is where I go to not be a mom for freaking 5 minutes. This is where I go to just a long day at work, just to relax, to play The Sims, to do whatever. It's not just a witchy room. It's kind of a she shed / witchy room, Yeah. It's not about having the room. And, people always say, you'll have all this stuff. Well, this stuff is 12 to 15 years in making. This is not stuff I bought yesterday. People have to realize that I didn't just, turn to this path a year ago. This is 15 years in the making, So I think people get caught up in witchy rooms, and for me, the reason why I really wanted a witchy room is, yes, to have a place to kind of be away from my family, because I'm a very independent person. But also, when I do ritual and spell work, if I have a 6-year-old running in and out of the room, there's no concentrate. I can't focus, So, kids know when mommy's door is closed, she's doing her thing. Wait till she, opens the door and, she'll be good. It allows me to concentrate a lot more on what I'm doing versus when I had my witchy room in my bedroom. It was like the witchy cove. I would be doing a spell and Luke would come running in and out. I'm like, oh, so it's one of those things. It's a privacy thing, especially when you're solitary. You need that kind of privacy, and a lot of witches do have their space in their bedroom.
Yeah.
So.
Or you can make space anywhere.
Yeah.
One of these little cubbies can be an altar. Okay.
There you go.
It doesn't have to be anything big and elaborate. I got altars all over the place. So, Heather says, it's been wonderful meeting like-minded and even not like-minded people. And I agree with that. Absolutely.
That's true. And I think, from the YouTube back in, a decade ago, people had a hard time with not like-minded people. They had a hard time with the people who were opposed to paganism, where this generation of community is kind of like, all right, I see your point. And they can be adults about it. Let's agree to disagree, or I see your point, but listen to mine. And people are more willing to kind of be like, all right, cool. Whereas back in the day, it was like, ner. So there's more open-mindedness, I think, now in this day and age, which seems kind of out of place, but it is. And this religion is more open-mindedness than there was 10 years ago, because you got to remember the community was also just a couple hundred, where now it's a couple thousand.
Yeah. And it's more acceptable. I've seen other people that talk about, how Halloween is becoming, or witchy stuff is becoming more popular, and how that is almost like, are they really a witch, or is it at this point, who cares?
Yeah.
That's the way I see it. Who cares? If it means more open acceptance for other people to be able to practice without that fear and all that other stuff, and it just becomes common, it means it's better, it opens up more avenues. That's the way I see it.
There were a lot of conversations on our platform about witchy aesthetics. Are people in love with, kind of like how goth was a thing in the 90s, where everyone emo and goth, and it was a fashion statement more than really anything. I think that kind of played into our world. It leaked over into our world. You know, are you into witchcraft because of the aesthetics of it? Because, you know, who doesn't love shiny, glittery, you know, things? You know, with the crystals and stuff like that. Of course, we're women. I love glitter. I wish I could wear glitter every day. You know, I want to be a fairy. Of course, they're beautiful. You know, but I think that, you know, a lot of people said, well, if you have so much witchy stuff like this, would be considered witchy aesthetics. No, this is just my she shed. This is just happens to be the way it looks.
That's what you like.
Yeah, exactly. You know, even came in here, you know, and she's like, it's kind of gypsy like. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's the kind of the point, you know?
Yeah.
And she's like, I get the witchy vibe. I can totally feel paganism in here, but the energy is so light and airy, you know, like fun, like a carnival. And I go, that's pretty much what my life is, you know? So I think that aesthetics played a part because people wanted to do a witch hunt. They wanted to call out who was a real witch and who was an aesthetic witch. And I'm just kind of like, are you seriously going to waste your energy on aesthetics? Like, who cares? If someone happens to love shiny crystals because they're shiny and pretty, let them. Is it hurting you anyway? Is it paying your bills? No. So who cares?
Right. Exactly. And if you like the blinky stuff and the glitter and all that, great. But let me say, if somebody has all the aesthetics, and does that mean that they're any less witchy? Right. Just because that's their perception that they are, because they have all the flashy stuff? Nah.
It doesn't. It doesn't. Some people just like
to
have that feeling around them. You know what I mean? I set up my room because it makes me feel comfortable, makes me feel at home and relaxed, you know? So it's all in the eyes of the perceiver. But I think the world of witchy aesthetics and charlatans kind of started to intermingle. People are starting to get confused. You know, a charlatan is someone who takes advantage, you know, who preys on spiritual religious groups and, you know, does fakery, as it were, you know, and steals money and energy from people. That's different than being a witch or not being a witch who just likes pretty things. They're two different things. If you're not scamming someone, like I've seen people who claim they're a pagan or a witch or a part of a coven or whatever, and they want to read your cards for $1,000. Yeah. I'm like, wait, what? You know, so it's that kind of stuff that you got to be careful for. But as far if you are a tarot collector and you love to collect tarot cards, sure. Are you hurting anybody else? But no, do what you want to do.
Exactly. And it's about acceptance and kindness. That's what Heather says. Absolutely. Vicky says, amen. It's our she shed. Absolutely. She shed. I love that.
It is. Yep. She shed / witchy room.
Heather says, yes, Rochelle, it's not about them. Focus on ourselves. And, you know, I would say that normally. Yeah. But I also like to promote certain things on my channel. So I'm going to bring it up. Because if somebody has access to my channel, that means they also have access to somebody else's who's maybe spreading a message that I don't agree with. So I'm going to say, you know, listen, I want you all to feel welcome. I don't care whether you like witchy stuff to wear or not. You know, it doesn't make a difference. It doesn't, there's no way for me to know. I'm not going to judge you and say you're less or I'm more or vice versa. Right. So I like to put that message out there for other people.
And I think it's also, you know, it plays into the subscribers. Some people look at other people's channels and see their subscribers and go, holy crap. Well, you know, I can't ever talk to that person because they have 3,000 subscribers. Doesn't mean you can't talk to me. Like, I try to respond to every single message, comment, whatever that you give me. I may take me a day or two, but I try to respond to every single one of them. And, you know, I think back in the day, that was the competition for subs. When YouTube becomes a competition for subs, I mean, yes, okay, let's be realistic. No one wants to have 2 subs and talk to the wall. No one wants to talk to themselves. You need to have subs to make this whole thing work. Yes, I get it. But it should never get to your head. You know, you should never take 3,000 subs like, I'm a YouTube celebrity and have time for you. No, that's not what this is about. You know?
Absolutely. So did anybody have any questions for Brittany? And that's so right. We cannot control what others think, do, or say. So true. So true. But we can put our own message out there, and hopefully it even reaches one person and they say, you know what, that's how I was feeling too.
Right.
Now I feel like I have somebody that I can talk to about these things.
I think
You
we
know?
indirectly doing this, we indirectly touch each other's lives without realizing we're doing it. Like
Mhm.
Kathy said, our choices should never be anyone else's agenda.
Yeah.
That is very true. And you know, even going into Kathy, I stumbled upon Kathy during a controversy. There was a controversy with her and her ex-wife, and I stumbled upon. I'm like, what is this? You know, it wasn't pagan relation in any relation, but I was hearing all these two-sided stories of this all stuff going on. So I click on Kathy's channel, and I fell in love. I was like,
Yeah.
this woman is unapologetically herself.
Mhm.
You know, there's no fakery. There's just Kathy being Kathy. And the realness of that, and I did a video about it, the realness of who Kathy is just grabbed my heartstrings. You know, it was one of those things where that's who I want to be. You know, I want to be that person where I'm unapologetically myself. If you don't like me, you know, there is a next button.
Case in point, because you did that video, I also went over to Kathy's, and exactly, you had a message. You were trying to also share about somebody else, and in turn, it affected other people.
Right. We
It's
all
our
affect each
actions
other.
that affect other people.
Yeah,
That's right.
everything we do on here affects someone else. And even if I make a video about something that seems simple to me, to a newbie witch out there, you know, it might grab them. And I think that was Tiptoe Chick's vision. Dolores Chapman from back in the day, who passed away last year, you know, her vision was she wanted to teach and educate newbies, you know, young teenage witches, or even early in your 20s, you're just starting off on the path. And she grabbed so many people and really had that heart to heart link. And I think that sometimes we post videos that we think are mundane, everyday kind of rambling crap, that someone else out there grabs, and it changes their either perception of thinking or their world. I know it has for me. I've watched a video, just clicked on a video, like some of Kathy's videos, for instance. I'm having a shitty day, a shitty day. I come into my she shed, I sit down, I'm like, oh, Kathy posted a video. I click on it, and I am in stitches laughing. And by the end of her video, I'm like, oh, that day wasn't so bad, because it ended with Kathy's humor. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, we touch each other's lives. We don't know what other people are feeling or doing in their life. We post a video, and just by simply clicking on it and watching it, we can change the way either someone's day was, or how they think, or how they perceive things, or themselves for that matter. You know, sharing stories. When you share shadow work, or, you know, like I did in the challenge, I shared some very deep, dark moments. I shared them because I wanted other people that may have thought or went through the same thing to know that, hey, I did it too. You know, I'm Palm Tree Bewitchery and Brittany, and I went through that. I tried to commit suicide, you know? So I want other people to realize that there are so many people out there that have been in that hole. You know, you don't realize you're touching other people, but you are. And I think that goes to that question about where do you want your channel to go or be or exist as. And that pretty much encompasses all of it.
Yep. Vicky says these teens need us, adults who have sense. Abso-friggin-lutely.
Yep. Absolutely. And I always said, you know, when I told my husband, you know, I said, if Sean comes up to me at 20 years old and said, Mom, I'm gay, I'd be like, cool beans, where's your boyfriend at? You know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of mom I want to be. That's who I want to be. If Luke came to me and said, Mom, I'm gay, I'd be like, awesome. Like, let's go. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, but back in, you know, my growing up era, you know, the 80s and 90s, if I went to my mom and said I was gay, she'd be like, oh, hell no, you're not. You know what I'm saying? I want to be the change that I want to see. I want to be the parent that accepts my kids no matter what they like, what they don't like, what their sexuality is. I don't care, you know, and the world is so hell-bent on having things so politically correct. Who cares? When you die, are you going to die with that? No, you're just going to die.
Vicky says she wanted a gay son. I love that.
Hey, you're not gay? Damn it.
She says she's got drama queen girls instead. And oh my gosh.
That's the worst.
That's so true. I've got one daughter and one son, and he's so much easier than my daughter.
Oh,
but when they were little, she was so much easier than he was. It's just a different kind of hard, you know?
And I think, you know, when I was pregnant with Luke, I wanted it to be a girl. And when I went to the sonogram and it was a boy, I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm being told that I'm just not fit to be a mother of a girl. And the more I thought about it, I'm like, if I had a girl that was me, I'd be like, oh my God, I would probably just pull my hair out. I'm glad I got boys. And boys are they're mommy's boys, you know. They're all attached to me, you know.
Yeah. It's definitely a different kind of hard.
Yeah, it is a different. They're such divas where boys are just like, yeah, whatever, poop, pee, eat, done. You know what I mean? It's like whatever.
It's hard because with my daughter, we'll get into it definitely more than what I do with my son. She'll be 21, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, there's a part of me that's like, damn it. I mean, even when I'm mad at her, I'm in my head, I'm like, you go, girl, you stand up for yourself, you know? And then there's another part of me, but not against me, you know?
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I was a horrible teenager. I was out walking the streets. I was out smoking weed. I was out, you know, doing drugs and all kind of stuff. If I had a girl doing that, oh my God, I'd die. You know, I don't know how I got blessed with two well-behaved kids. I mean, I've got a 15-year-old who thinks smoking is absolutely disgusting. At 15, I was already smoking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So at 15, he's just like, ew. You know, and I'm like, yes.
Thank God, right?
Like, how did this even happen?
Can you believe it's been 2 hours, honey?
No, it goes by so fast.
Yeah.
Talking to you is like talking to you like an old friend that I've been sitting there, you know, just having a cup
Love
of tea.
it.
It's great.
These are so fun. I love them. But, you know, we probably should cut this, you know.
Yes,
but
we totally should. We've been making people sit here on their chairs for the past 2 hours.
Thank you so much. And I can see that your butt's probably hurting because you're shifting. That's what I do. You'll see me even in my videos going,
My left butt cheek's asleep. Oh gosh.
So,
thank you, Raquel, for having me. This was awesome.
Just so you know, it's Rochelle.
Rochelle. Sorry, Rochelle. Raquel.
Okay. Everybody
Rochelle.
does it. Everybody does it. So thank you so much. This has been wonderful. It's been a dream, actually, because as soon as I went to your channel the first time, I'm like, oh yeah, I love this girl. I love her. I love your, you know, no nonsense, just speak your mind, authentic. And that came across really, really good. And that's what I'm all about.
Thank you for inviting me on this. I've never been on anybody else's channel. I've always been on my own. This was so much funny.
I
so much
loved
funny
it.
stuff going on here.
So, guys, thank you so much for coming. I'm looking over here. I should be looking here, but I'm looking at your comments over here.
Like, what did we miss?
Girls are the worst, even without all the femme stuff. My daughter is gay, and she's still a handful, bitch. LOL.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Thank you guys for coming out and spending some time with us. I can't believe 2 hours went by that fast. Wow.
I know. Thank you, guys. Love you guys very much. Have a good day, guys.